Well, Sam, Nottinghamshire next week. How's the squad feeling ahead of the penultimate game here at the Cloud County ground?
Yeah, obviously really wanting to get back out there and try and put things right after last week. Obviously everyone was extremely disappointed to not come away with a win last week. So everyone's just raring to get back out there and hopefully put things right.
So what was the focus in training this week after what happened last week? Has there been anything to specifically sort of work on?
Not really. I think we always have those weeks. We've been extremely consistent in red ball cricket and we can't be perfect every week. So that was obviously frustrating, but you can't look into things too deeply. We've played a lot of brilliant cricket this year. And I guess the key is just to keep being consistent, keep doing things that we've done well all year and keep being consistent and not try to chase something different because we had an off couple of days.
And there is obviously one thing that will remain the same with this game as there was last year, and that's the Kookaburra ball. Just focusing on the ball itself for a second, how did you find bowling with it last week and heading into next week?
I think actually when it's brand new, I quite enjoy bowling with it. I think sometimes at Chelmsford, you tend to get maybe a fraction more bounce with it, especially early on. And I think playing on slow, dry wickets here, like we've done a lot recently, it can be nicer at times to bowl with. But I do think after that new ball, it can get very soft and difficult to get to move off the straight. So that's where you've got to be creative and consistent and use your cricket smarts and try and take wickets in different ways. I think all in all, last week we did that pretty well on a pretty slow, pretty dry surface. So the same again this week, and yeah, I think it's one of those things that's probably been made sort of more of an issue than it is. I think it's one of those things, if you try and fight it, you're not going to get better and take wickets with it. So it's having a positive approach. How can we take wickets with that ball? And I think we've done that pretty well throughout all the games we've used it this year.
I think people who are listening to this interview would certainly take your opinion very highly on the Kookaburra ball based on how you did with it the last time we played against Nottinghamshire. Does that give you any sort of confidence that your performance against that opponent earlier this year?
Yeah, I think it will do. I think obviously you obviously have positive memories of taking wickets, and if you've got one over on a batter before, it certainly gives you a boost of confidence. But I think a really important thing is you obviously acknowledge that, but not rest on that. You still got to try and do the basics well and do what we did well last time with that ball and try and take 20 wickets as quickly as we can.
And how about Nottinghamshire themselves? Obviously they're towards the wrong end of the table, but they managed to get a high scoring draw against Surrey. They're certainly going to be a difficult challenge coming up next week.
Yeah, any team in this division, I think it doesn't matter where you are in the table. Anyone can beat anyone, and if you have an off few overs or an off half an hour, it can really hurt you, as we saw last week. I mean, we were in control of that game for 2 days and we didn't sort of hammer it home and we came out on the wrong side of the result. So it just shows how strong the division is. And the same with Notts. Yeah, like you say, they've obviously not a perfect year, but they're an extremely dangerous side with dangerous players and you can't take anyone lightly. So in terms of our prep and how we go about it, we're certainly all over it and trying to put a good performance in over the next 4 days.
And then finally, as disappointing as the defeat was last week, we're still fourth in the table, we're still within striking distance of those top places. There's still plenty to play for.
100%. I think any game you play, whatever point in the season, whether the title's decided, wherever you have that pride in playing for the team and wanting to win every game that you play in. So nothing changes from that point of view. Obviously we're disappointed to be down in fourth, but we're chasing those guys as hard as we can and we'll do that right to the end.